Rod Lidke. I'm the CEO of CS Week, and I'd like to welcome you to our webinar series entitled Second Tuesday. And this webinar series occurs on the second Tuesday of the month at this time, coincidentally 2 p.m. Eastern. We'd like to thank Tata Consulting for sponsoring this webinar series for this period, up through the next CS Week. The second Tuesday series represents the best sessions as voted by you attendees of CS Week, so we simply look at the survey results, take the top sessions, and then bring those back to you through this webinar series. The presenters are allowed to update their materials. So a few reminders for you. CS Week will be next April 29 through May 3 of 2013. We'll be in the Tampa Convention Center in beautiful downtown Tampa, Florida. Some of those other slides that you saw rolling by remind you to connect with us through various social media sites. We also have announced in there our keynote speaker, Dr. Robert Ballard. Some of you will remember he's the fellow who found the Titanic. So now is also a very good time for you to think about projects at your utilities and submit in one of our 4 categories for Expanding Excellence Awards. Some of you will note that we have a new category there for Best Mobility Implementation. So if you are implementing mobile versions of various customer interfaces to your utility company, that would be a good area for you to submit a nomination. Next month, we will be together on the same second Tuesday. That'll be January 8th, and the topic there is Implementing Bill Presentment and Redesign. So a couple of other housekeeping notes. You'll notice on your screen that you have a Q&A panel in the bottom right corner of your screen, and that is available for you to type questions in there at any time during this presentation today. We've had them as early as 15 minutes into the presentation, people typing questions in there. And we will hold those questions to the end, and I will ask those questions of Dave at the end of this presentation today. I'll also remind you that all of these webinars are recorded and they're available for playback. If you go through our website to the second Tuesday series, you will find probably the past 14, 16 months of webinars. They're available for you to replay or for your colleagues at work to replay them. So today's a good session. We have Dave McKendry with us from Hydro Ottawa. That is not Dave on the first screen that you're looking at. I assume that's one of his linemen. But today we'll hear what led Hydro Ottawa to develop a strategic customer service plan, the steps that were taken, and the results that have been achieved to date. We will learn how a strategic customer service plan can align your entire company in the delivery of excellent customer service. Our presenter today is Dave McKendry. Dave is Director of Customer Service with Hydro Ottawa. He's a respected, customer-focused business leader with over 25 years of domestic and international utility experience in the electricity, telephone, and cable sectors. Dave possesses a wide range of strengths in the areas of customer service, sales, marketing, and business development. Dave holds a BA from Carleton University and a Master's Certificate in Energy Sector Leadership from York University. So on that point, Dave, if you'll go ahead and lead us through your materials today.
Great, Rod. Thank you very much. And the answer to that question is if everybody thinks that fellow's good looking, that's me. If not, it's not. So that's actually Darcy, one of our linemen that we proudly display. Welcome, everybody. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you today regarding this particular seminar. And although it's a longer title to the presentation, it is called Driving Customer Service Excellence Through a Strategic Customer Service Plan. Just by way of background, just wanted to let you know I'm broadcasting from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Just for reference, Ottawa is between Toronto and Montreal, Canada. We're about a 45-minute drive north of the New York border, but that'll just put things in context for you. Specifically, Ottawa is Canada's nation's capital. You'll see our Parliament buildings pictured to the right there. We have a population of about 900,000 people, And we definitely have 4 distinct seasons with temperatures ranging from a high of plus 90 degrees Fahrenheit to a low of minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit. And just to prove that, you can see the pictures in the bottom left and right. This is the Rideau Canal. In the summer it becomes a boating paradise, and in the winter it becomes a skating paradise, with many people enjoying the outdoors. Mercer has given us a pretty high standard of quality of living, and we certainly enjoy it in this part of the country. A little bit of background in terms of Hydro Ottawa specifically. We are the 3rd largest municipal electricity distributor in the province of Ontario, and just for reference, Ontario is about 1.6 times the size of the state of Texas. We have about 300,000 customers. We have 600 employees. We are considered to be a provincial leader in service reliability. Again, for context, we are fully smart meter deployed, and time of use billing is completely in place, not only within Ottawa, but across the province of Ontario. Just I'll sort of put some context here. From a pricing point of view, again, this was a study that was done by Hydro-Quebec in 2010, and it was just showing price comparison between some noted North American cities, and you can see that Ottawa's somewhere in the middle. This would be for a customer consuming about 1,000 kilowatt hours of electricity per month. This is in Canadian dollars, which is at about parity with the US dollar at this point in time. As far as our customer service organization is concerned, it used to be that from our 300,000 customers, we'd collect about 1.8 million pieces of data because we bill every 2 months. So 6 times a year times 300,000, that's 1.8 million pieces of data that we were collecting. But now that we've got our smart meters in place, we're collecting hourly data plus a register read, so that's 25 reads a day times 365 days a year times 300,000 equals 2.7 billion pieces of data that we are now collecting through our AMI network. This allows us to produce 1.9 million bills annually, and we collect about $800 million. We handle about 280,000 phone calls, process about 50,000 moves. We have 3 universities or colleges in town, and we implement the new technologies and ways of doing things, and we salute our regulatory, or the regulator, which is the Ontario Energy Board here in the province of Ontario. As far as our structure is concerned, we have 3 managers in the customer service area. 2 that I consider working in the business, the day-to-day transaction of the millions and hundreds of thousands of things that we happen to do, be it phone calls or handling lawyers' letters, or we're collecting billing information and sending out the bills and collecting the money. At the same time, we have a manager of customer experience who concurrently works on the business. That team is our scouting organization. They look for the next and the latest and greatest, and they implement and train and do change management and basically look after our product and service suite from cradle to grave. This whole team, comprised of about 80 people plus an outsourced call center. I'm going to step back in time to talk about what led to our strategic plan. Like most of you, I suspect you would agree that for 100 years this industry basically didn't change. It was the same wires, same poles, and everything was done the same way. But things started to change here in our territory about 1998 with the breakup of Ontario Hydro, which was a former organization that looked after the generation, transmission, and some distribution of electricity. In 1998, we also had the major ice storm in this part of the country. In the year 2000, through the province of Ontario, there was a considerable amalgamation. We had at that time about 300 local distribution companies. That was felt to be way too many, so some amalgamation occurred, and we're down now to 76. Still a lot, too many, I think, in my mind, but we're now down to about 76. And in our territory, we amalgamated 5 and then soon added a 6th company. Obviously, that meant new systems and processes. And then in 2002, the government determined that they would open the market. They would let the price of electricity float, and as quickly as they opened it, they shut it down because they were leading to a bit of a revolt because the electricity prices were going up too fast for their liking. In 2003, we had a blackout that many of you were probably participating in and affecting 50 million customers to the northeast part of the continent. And in 2004, we put in a new customer information system. We also had a labor disruption that year. In 2005, we were asked by the government to help people use less of the stuff we sell and make money at, i.e. do conservation and demand management. So that threw a bit of a wrench. And then from 2006 to present, it's even speeded up. We've ripped out 1/3 old meters, put in 1/3 smart meters. We've changed the way that these customers used to be billed, and we've updated it to time of use rates. We literally ripped the Band-Aid off of 250,000 of these meters over a 90-day period to convert customers over to time of use rates, which actually went without incident. We've also implemented what's called in Ontario the Green Energy Act, which allows feed-in tariffs for both small and large renewable energy opportunities in solar, wind, etc. So we've had to take a one-way street in terms of sending electrons and sending out bills, and converted it into a two-way street where we're now accepting electrons back into the grid, and we're also paying people as well as billing them. We've had to implement our regulatory amendments, and amidst all this, we've had some major storms, a national postal strike. We were preparing for another new billing system, some government-mandated initiatives on our smart meter AMI systems through the midnight-to-midnight data conversion and Measurement Canada metering requirements. And on top of that, the Ontario government has some requirements for people with disabilities. All this to say is there was a lot going on in this period of time. As a result of this, and I go back to 2006 because this is really where my involvement started in this particular area, what we found when we did an audit was that we had 16,000 unopened return pieces of mail at the time. We were 2,500 moves behind that hadn't been processed. We were 73 days late in our correspondence. We had 45,000 open customer service requests. We didn't have a tool, but we thought they were a lot. We built a tool, pushed the button, and found out there were 45,000 open customer service requests. Now, many of these had been worked, but hadn't been closed, and it was just plain confusing. We had a budget billing reconciliation, or a equal monthly payment reconciliation, that was up, in some cases, up to 5 years behind. There were about 12,000 customers affected with millions of dollars either owing or owed to these customers. Our outage communication system was manual. It was effectively broken. It was not functional. We offered dial tone. We didn't offer ETRs or crew status or anything like that. We had no online self-serve capability. We had at best maybe an electronic brochure, etc. And as a result, we were in the paper because of bad press. So as you can tell, I'm opening the kimono here. It wasn't pretty. I call this whole story from here on in a bit of a Cinderella story. And it's all related to the strategy that we put in place. And that started about 2007, setting the stage. We determined that customer service would be established as a core company value. We then sat down with some key individuals and we listed, triaged the opportunities, and we reduced our backlogs, improved our processes, and implemented technology. And our customer satisfaction scores did start to increase, and the question was, where do we go to next? So we basically found ourselves at this point in time doing what I would call the equivalent of a double lung transplant and a heart transplant all at the same time. Don't talk to me about strategy. This is all very tactical. We know exactly what we need to do. Get out of the way. There's going to be some bloodshed here. And for the 2-year period, we really dug ourselves out of a ditch. Once we got the patient, though, out of this heart transplant, lung transplant situation, we sewed them up, put the patient on the side of the bed and said, okay, what's the physiotherapy plan going forward? What is our strategy going forward? We determined at an executive level that we want to be a leader in utility customer service, but we recognized that to do that, we would have to transform our culture and become even more customer-centric. We determined that we wanted to become best in class, but understanding the regulatory environment that we work within in such areas as customer practices, application of technology, human resource behavior, organization and training, and customer-focused processes and workflow. And at the end, we said, you know what, we're not going to declare victory. We're going to let others tell us if we're doing okay. And that number one, it's going to be our customers. Based on our various satisfaction scores, we will be listening to them. And we will also look to the industry to tell us if we're doing okay. So the approach that we used once we determined this is we went through a competitive RFP with a number of organizations responded, but we landed on an organization called @Focus, PricewaterhouseCoopers. an international arm with PwC, and more local focus with at Focus. We asked the organization to help validate the work that we had done when we did that lung and heart transplant stuff. Please validate the tactical stuff that we did, and they said, yeah, you did the right thing at that time. And with them, we sat down and we reviewed best and leading practices both within and outside of the electricity industry. We conducted extensive customer service research and analysis. We did focus groups with our customers, both commercial and residential. We conducted staff focus groups. We did management interviews. We conducted a call center diagnostic. And then we prepared a gap analysis of our current state of where we are to where we would ideally like to be. As we went through this process, we discovered that indeed we had made progress, but we still had some areas where improvements could be made. In these dialogues with our customers, they told us that their key drivers of satisfaction in our area, which are now our guiding principles, are that they wanted us to be competent, dependable, in other words, consistent in the application of our standards and processes. They wanted us to be responsive, understanding, to be good communicators, and to be accessible. The little picture of the guiding principles that we have on the right-hand side is something that we've adopted that falls within our overall corporate strategy. We have blown up these posters. They're all over all over our buildings. Staff have them located at their desks. We have trained our entire workforce, including the line guys, in terms of basics of customer service. And through this activity, it was determined with the assistance of the consultants that we focus in on 4 key areas, they being complaint management, service standards, accuracy and completeness, and service quality. And the way that we arrived at this was through what we call our customer service wheel. What you'll see here is a wheel with, you'll see 5 concentric rings going from the middle out being a score of 5, the middle would be 0, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you'll see 15 spokes on this wheel. This wheel is a wheel that could be used by virtually any company in any industry as it relates to customer service. And when we worked with the consultants, we said, okay, so really what we're looking to do is plot these 15 points on a scale of 0 to 5. And they said, yes. And so how do you determine what 5 is? They said 5 is the best of the best in the world. And that's not from a utility perspective. This would be considered, you think about organizations like the Ritz-Carlton or FedEx or Disney, that type of thing. That would be at a 5. And then we'll move our way inwards. So these areas specifically are in 4 focus areas, the first one being customer focus. How well do you know your customer? How well do you handle your complaints? How accessible are you? From a service point of view, how well do you handle the pre-service activity? Do you have service standards? If you do, how are you performing against those standards? Are you doing your work accurately and completely? Are you doing it in a quality way? Operationally, are you doing things efficiently? Are you innovating? Are you funding? Are you budgeting to do all this stuff? And are you doing things that will get perceived value for money? And then finally, are you strategically aligned within your company, top to bottom, left to right, all hands on deck, HR, finance, IT, and customer service operations, etc.? Are you involving customers in your decisions, and are you communicating well? So with this as kind of the scope, we said, okay, if the 5 is the outer ring is the best of the best in the world, and nobody can be the best of the best, could you please, PricewaterhouseCoopers, with your international database, please take in a shot or an attempt at what would the best in the utility sector worldwide look like? And they said this. So they indicated the best would be probably in about a 4 out of 5 on knowledge of customer and 4 out of 5 on complaint management. You can see the rest. Then we said, okay, with that understanding, can you please overlay our peer group in the province of Ontario, and what would they look like? And they said, we think they would look like this. And then we kind of cowered and tucked our head in and said, okay, now that we've opened up our kimono about us, how would you position Hydro Ottawa? And they said, we think you look like this in the red. And what you'd see here is that in some cases we're ahead of our peers, in other cases behind, and other cases about the same. We said, okay, if that's the case, if that's reality, and we sat at the executive table and said, if that's where we are, let's vision this out. Where do we want to be? And so we placed these dots and said, ideally, we'd like to move out. So you can see here, we said instead of being a 2 in complaint management, we'd like to maybe move up to a 4, etc. And then we said, but we can't do all of that stuff at the same time, so where are we going to focus? And we said, where are the biggest gaps? So we focused initially on complaint management, service standards, accuracy and completeness, and service quality. And as we were doing this, we said, you know what, we're going to also keep in mind the killer bees, billing and blackouts. From a customer point of view, if we mess up on your bill, or if we mess up when there's a blackout, you're probably not going to think too highly of us. So it was that we started down our journey on. The first thing we did is we set up our project management office. We had a team that were going to be dedicated to making this change happen. So this is the team that's managed by our manager of customer experience, works on my team. There's a total of 6 staff. And their role is to identify, analyze, and recommend opportunities, to secure the funding, do the project management, conduct the change management, including communications and training. And I mentioned that we have now completed 3 modules of what I would call Customer Service 101 with our entire company, including our linemen. This team is also responsible for metrics and keeping score of, are we making progress? So the first thing we did on complaint management, just to kind of go high level on this, the issues that we were facing were that we had paper-based processes. We weren't centralized. There were bottlenecks. It was not working well for us. And our solution was, number one, we declared that all roads are going to lead to Rome. If there is a complaint, we're going to centralize it. It's going to go to one location. And we put in place a web-based system. It's called iSites. It's an automated system that allows us to track, assign, and watch through until close all of our complaints. So it's centralized and it's streamlined. That has been a huge benefit for us. On the service standards, our issues were that our standards were dated or missing, or there was a lack of reporting. So our solution to that was we implemented a customer touch point inventory. We initially started with a list of 44 touch points within our company that we were touching our customers, including at our call center and our web and with our trucks, et cetera, and we assigned the appropriate director that was responsible for those areas to each of these touch points. We conducted subject matter expert interviews. We identified opportunities for improvement, and then we implemented standards or updated them and posted them electronically. On the accuracy and completeness, some of the stuff flows together because of the lack of standards and because we had some manual and paper-based systems, we were running into challenges. And our solution was put in some standards, measure how we're doing, continue to improve, work through business process redesign, including some lean principles and whatnot, and automate as much as we can to eliminate the manual errors. So on the billing side, again, the killer bees, on the billing side, we automated our meter reading through an AMI, automated meter infrastructure system. We have implemented e-billing and are pushing that hard, as long as auto-pay arrangements. And on the blackout side, we've put a lot of emphasis in terms of our communication. I'll talk more about that in a moment. On the service quality side, issues, well, just plain quality was lacking in several areas. Our solution was to embed our service standards, focus in on the process redesign, automate, measure, continually improve, and implement this cross-company training on the customer service modules that I mentioned. And then once we got through those initial 4, we said, let's continue to expand out. And we focused next on accessibility and innovation. They were also on the customer service wheel. We wanted to provide new customer access avenues. We wanted to provide an innovative customer experience for our customers. And we adopted the Forrester definition of customer experience, and that being what we desired that our transactions be useful, easy, and enjoyable. And that's basically become a mantra around Hydro Ottawa in terms of how we are looking to do things for our customers. So as far as accessibility and innovation, again on the killer bees, here's some things we did on the billing front. First of all, I talked about the enabling technology, smart meters. You'll see that the blue and green lines were basically when our smart meters were installed, and the red line was the follow-on in terms of when time of use billing was implemented. As I indicated, we basically ripped the Band-Aid off of 250,000 meters over a 3-month period to bring them on side, to bring the customers on side. And we were very pleased that with a lot of communications, this basically went without incident. With that enabling technology in place, it's enabled us to open up a whole plethora of new services to our customers, such as My HydroLink. My HydroLink is our customer self-serve web portal where you can sign on, password protected, etc. And this becomes the customer's area that they can do a whole variety of things within their account. Things like managing their profile, managing their account information, adding secondary accounts. This is where they can enroll or de-enroll for e-billing and manage their profile. Call me doctor, not Mr. My language preference is English versus French. We're in a bilingual territory. My cell phone is, such and such, etc. On top of that, because we now have our data on available to the customers on the next morning by 8 o'clock, they can now manage their time of use consumption. They can view their personal information, hourly, daily, or weekly views. We layer over weather trends. We provide this information in high contrast for those that are colorblind. They can have a better view of the data. We provide a time of use consumption calculator. They can look at the old rates versus the new rates comparison. So information that our customers have never really had available to them in the past. It's this same area that customers can view My Bill. They can manage e-billing enrollments and view and download e-bills. They can view inserts and promotions, and they can access up to 2 years of billing and payment history all in this one location. With this technology in place, we're able to also now offer a very interesting alert. We call it Predict My Bill. We currently bill every 2 months. We will be moving to monthly billing next year, but at this point we bill every 60 days. What this allows is a customer to go into My HydroLink and say, I would like you, Hydro Ottawa, to tell me, predict what my bill will be in 59 days, 58 days, 57 days, or 40 or 30 or 20 days. What's it going to be? And what we do is we take the actual data that's consumed in the first part of that billing period, and then we estimate the second part based on a previous similar timeline. What this allows is it minimizes sticker shock. The predictions are based on actual consumption and past history, and the customer has the option of asking for this data daily, weekly, or monthly. Payment methods are available. This is where customers can go in and arrange pre-authorized payments. They can submit agreements electronically. Digital signatures flow. It's a streamlined workflow. It allows electronic storage, which obviously gets us out of the manual work and cleans up a lot of opportunity for error. We're allowing credit card payments now. This started for us. We work with a company called Paymentus. We started allowing credit card payments for those that were at risk of disconnect. It was the final straw. And by pulling out a credit card, these customers could avoid disconnection. More recently, we've opened up the credit card solution to anybody who is receiving a Hydro Ottawa bill. Customers can pay by Visa or MasterCard. Obviously, again, it's secure. They get email confirmation. Electronic storage is in place. And this allows, again, us not to be dealing in a manual environment. Because of the technology, we've been able to put in place a number of account alerts. As a customer of Hydro Ottawa, you can sign on through My HydroLink and say, Hydro, can you please tell me if my payment becomes past due? Could you ping me? Or if my consumption threshold goes over a certain amount, 800 kilowatt hours in a month, please ping me. Or if my bill goes over $100 or $123.16, could you please notify me? Or if my peak consumption goes over a threshold, please ping me. And again, customers can just self-subscribe for this, and everything's automated, and those notifications go out. Behind my HydroLink, if people are moving, this is where they can go in and process move requests online. We immediately confirm with email confirmations. We provide unique move request identifiers depending on whether it's a homeowner, a landlord, a lawyer, or a tenant. We, again, electronically store this information, and it has streamlined our workflow. So those are just some of the things that we've done on accessibility and innovation on billing. On the blackout side, my personal story is that back in about 2006, I had a cell phone, and I would dutifully take it home, put it on the bedside table, go to bed, and sure enough, be woken up at 2 o'clock in that morning, and I wasn't terribly pleased. My wife wasn't terribly pleased, and I finally went to my boss, who's our chief operating officer, and I said, you know what, when that cell phone goes off, I'm embarrassed to tell you that, Norm, I don't know what to do. But more importantly, I think there's a whole bunch of people who don't know what to do. So if you allow me to just pull on that string, we'll see where it goes. So he said, obviously, no problem at all. So we started our work, and I grabbed somebody from our operations center, and I grabbed somebody from our comms team, and we went to a whiteboard, and I wrote the word outage and said, then what? And we basically flow-charted what was happening or the way it was working at the time, and it was very obvious very quickly, problem, 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 problem. It was around this time that an operations colleague and I went to a conference in the United States about outage communications, and we basically slunk under the table as Florida Power and Light talked about what they do when Hurricane Juan comes through, because they were doing some phenomenal work, and we basically had a bucket of bolts on the garage floor. We were not in a good place. We came back from that conference with renewed vigor and said, okay, let's make this happen. So as a result, this is what we put in place. Today at Hydro Ottawa, when an outage occurs, obviously, unless it's a major line where we know through our SCADA system that there's a problem, we still do rely on customers to call in. But when they call in now, they call in to an IVR system, and we do a database dip and do a lookup and then pump the information into our outage management system automatically. So Dave McKendry lives at 22 Dillon Way. If I called in from that address from 823-2138, this system will prompt me to say the number 22, the address of my location. It will do the database dip. It will confirm everything. It will confirm with me. If I say yes, then it will be automatically populated into our OMS system. But if I have additional information to report on my phone, I can tap in, 1, because I heard a loud noise, or 2, there was a fire, or, there's a variety of prompts that I can do off of my telephone. Or if I really need to talk to somebody, there's a mechanism that allows me to get to a service agent that is a third-party call center agent that's available 24/7, and they will input the information into our OMS. Once the OMS has the information, it's instantly provided to our System Operations Center, and from there we've put in a purposeful pause so that our operators can make sure that everything's good, and at a click of a button, they can instantly and automatically send information both internally and externally, starting with our crews, to our management, our on-call communications people. At the same time, our recorded announcement for customers to call in is updated immediately. The media is notified immediately at predetermined thresholds, as are our local politicians, as well as our large customers. And these organizations have access, if they need to talk to a live person, to an on-call communications person. Instantly, and at the same time, our web is updated with the information swept onto our outage maps. Daily reports are then provided, and we're also reporting on Twitter about our outage communications. With this in place, all stakeholders are notified instantly, and you'll note that we don't have a lot of people involved in this. It's automated. We've been able to reduce our average call duration by 83%, from 3 minutes down to 30 seconds. We've reduced the number of blocked calls due to busy signal to virtually nothing. We're outperforming the Bell Canada in our particular area in terms of central office performance. And we've received very positive customer feedback about ease and use and speed of the information. And As a result, we're very pleased to receive the Chartwell 2010 Best Practices Award for Outage Communications, because it was at the Chartwell conference we went to in 2007 as we slunk under the table. So we're very pleased about that. But we haven't stopped there. We've continued on. We've further updated our web maps, including providing a location analysis, and you can zoom in on color blob areas where outages are. We report crew status, number of customers affected, estimated time of restoration, unconfirmed outages, etc. And for planned, at this point in time, we're looking to register, allow customers to register for premise-based outage notifications through My HydroLink. We will automate customer alerts for planned outages, and we will automate customer callbacks on power restoration. So we've taken that, and we've taken the best of everything that I've just talked about on our killer bees, and we've mobilized it. So we did this past June. It combines the best of our customer self-serve. You can see that we've done, from a billing point of view, customers now can sign in and get account balance, billing and payment history, the Predict My Bill, Pay by Credit Card, all those alerts. They can view their time of use information online. At the same time, for blackouts, they can view the web map, they can zoom in, find out what the crew status is, estimated time of restoration, they can view planned outages and report an outage. Incidentally, this has been done in an optimized mobile website. We've done it in HTML5. We didn't do a native app because this way it was cheaper and renders equally well on virtually any mobile device supporting HTML5, such as Blackberries, Androids, iPhones, etc. So that's a newer tool, and very, very pleased about that. So you'll recall that I said that when we started out on our strat plan, our goal was to be recognized by our customers in the electrical industry as a leader in customer service. So let's check back in and see what they're saying. So our customers are saying things like, you know, very impressed, lots of information, I can see my information daily, weekly, monthly, I can compare it to other periods. You've got a whole bunch of tools, I can see how I can actually lower my consumption, and says you're the only utility in Ottawa that provides such an extensive volume of tools to assist the homeowner. Well done. Another customer says, wow, you have a sweet online site, I can see your usage history to the hour. And another one says, really impressed with the improvements made to the website and the data graphing tools. Keep up the good work. Obviously very gratifying to hear this type of feedback. At the same time, we do annual customer satisfaction surveys, and over the years, this is the trend. We've gone from 76% in 2004, and more recently, we're at 2012. We were at 88 and 90%. The 88% is a pre-survey. Before I talk to you about Hydro Ottawa, what do you think? 88%, and then question, question, question. Now what do you think? Oh, it's really it's 90%. So that's the trending that we're seeing on our overall annual satisfaction survey. And as a result, this survey, this is just the same information that's provided in a different way. You can see the green is where we were and are. We were compared to our Canadian counterparts and to our immediate peers in the province of Ontario. We were in third place, and now we're competing for first position, and we're quite pleased about that. My HydroLink has been very popular. We have about 300,000 customers. Actually, this graph is even a little bit dated already. We're now sitting at 83,000 customers on My HydroLink, so roughly 25 to 26% penetration of our customers have voluntarily signed up to see all the information that I told you about a few moments ago. This is our e-billing trajectory. We again, a little bit dated. We now have 43,000 customers, so probably about 13%, something like that, penetration on e-billing. It's been a straight line hockey stick curve, and I'm not going to lie. Last year we had a major postal strike across with Canada Post, and if you want to improve your e-billing penetration, just arrange a national postal strike, and it does wonders. We increased at the time our e-bill take up by about 40% in that particular period, but we're seeing some really strong uptake here. We've just completed a contest of promoting our self-serve. So there were prizes that were awarded for customers who signed up to My HydroLink, e-bill, and AutoPay. We're just trying to automate that whole system. So we provided first prize was a suite of Energy Star appliances, and then we also provided 5 mobile tablets. And we were part of those numbers that we had just talked about are a result of this particular promotion. It worked out very well for us. Electronic move requests. So this is basically customers who are saying, I'll look after that online. So the more people we can do the work and having them key things in at the front end, that's a good thing. And you can see over the time, so this chart's going back from 06 to 2012. And now about 26% of our moves, there's an electronic component to it. So obviously, again, saving us time and making us a little more efficient. I love this chart. What you'll see here is the solid blue line are the number of customers that we have had. Back in 2005, we had 278,000 customers. We now have over 300,000. Concurrently, the dotted line shows our call volumes to our call center have dropped from about 348,000. We're forecasting in about landing at about 280,000 calls this year. This has been a phenomenal story, and as a result of the process, technology, training, implementation, and just pure focus, we've just done an extension on our call center arrangement, which we will see saving us about what we're estimating $1 million over the course of the next 2 years. So some very, very positive results of putting the focus on where we have at this point in time. In our call center, we've also been focusing on first call resolution. To the extent we can do it one and done, that's what our focus is at this point, and you can see that customer sat on our first call resolution, or pardon me, this is our first call resolution. This is self-reported by our customers. We've increased in 2007 from 74%, and this year we're trending at 85%, and we're very pleased, obviously, about that as well. Our overall call center satisfaction at the same time has gone from 76% up to 88%. And I love this slide. These are our complaints. You recall that one of our very first things we looked at was complaint management back in the early days. And first of all, we defined a complaint as if a customer is not getting satisfied through the regular course of business, and they decide that they have to go to a politician or an executive or a Better Business Bureau or the regulator, that would be something we're going to really be paying attention to. And back in 2005, we had 2,181 of those. Last year, we were able to drop it to 316, and this year we're tracking at what we believe will be less than 200. And we do a deep dive in all of these, and we're tracking. We believe that at the end of the year, we'll be about 17 to 20 complaints where we will have been at fault. And again, this is across the whole company. This is now after collecting 2.7 billion pieces of data to produce 1.9 million bills, handle 280,000 phone calls, process 50,000 moves, collect $800 million, and do an $80 million capital campaign, our capital program with lines and poles and whatnot. So we're very, very pleased about the progress we've made on this front as well. So that's what the customers have been saying. On the industry side, in 2010, we won that Outage Communications Award from Chartwell, and within our Ontario marketplace, we were recognized as a finalist here within the Electricity Distributors Association in Ontario. In 2011, we won the EDA Award for Customer Service Excellence for a number of the self-serve items that I just described to you, and we're very pleased. In this year, we were recognized as a runner-up in the Customer Services Best Practice Award out in San Diego with the Chartwell organization for some of the material that we've talked about as well. So very, very pleased about that. So bottom line, we think we've made some good strides, but we also recognize that our customers will still want more, and they will only increase their expectations as their bills get higher, and they will continue to compare us to everyone else, the banks, the cable companies, etc. So we have to keep pace with what their other customer experiences are. And we also have a desire to see our employees as ambassadors for the company. The changing landscape, we see the untethering of our customers. The mobility will continue. It won't slow down. Customers will want instant gratification. Social media is just continuing to leapfrog forward. There's technology in place now that wasn't around a few scant months ago, and it will continue to challenge us. So as a result of this, our vision for 2016 is that we're looking to move from where we are, and we think we're okay, but we're looking to move to great. And great, in our mind, we define that as our customers or our fans. They're in control. They interact with us how they want to interact. It's no longer one size fits all. It's all sizes fit one, and we're the one. We want those interactions to be useful, easy, and enjoyable. we want to be seen as a customer-centric organization. Everything starts with the customer in mind, and the survey results showing that customers view us as a good company to deal with. Part of the key on this is that not all customers are the same. So we've done a lot of this stuff just saying this is what we think we need to do. So we now are going back to basics. As we speak, we're in market doing back to market research. We've done 2,000 surveys with our residential customers. We're surveying our business customers. We're interviewing our key account customers. We're talking with our developers and our contractors in the intent to develop our customer personas, so that we can determine how many are in, what are the personas, how many customers are in each of these personas, are these personas growing or shrinking, so we can attach our wagon to the personas that are moving forward. At the same time we're doing that outward looking, we're looking inward, where we've developed our Customer Experience Steering Committee. This is made up of our senior executive, cross-functional, encompassing operations, customer service, finance, HR, IT, etc. And we have a working group that are reporting to each of those individuals, and we've done some self-assessments using the Forrester and Gartner research tools to assess where we are on the customer experience maturity model. Very similar to a smart grid maturity model, a customer experience maturity model helps to identify where organizations are related to things such as alignment across the company with vision, strategy, metrics, governance, organization processes, and technology. And once we put those elements together, those will be the kernels that will tell us what the next steps are that we need to do in our ever-evolving customer experience journey. Bottom line, we're looking to transition from treating all customers the same to meeting them where they are, when they are, whenever that might be. So to summarize, our recommendations or our thoughts or what's worked for us, and again, believe me, we don't have all the answers. We're not any experts in any of this stuff, but I just wanted to paint, this has been the journey that we've been on. And based on the journey we've been on and some of the successes, modest successes that we've had, I would just espouse you to look at a strategic customer service plan. We believe it provides focus. It can align your entire company, top to bottom, left to right, and deliver measurable improvements. I would suggest that you start at the top. Water runs down a hill a lot easier than pushing the string up. We've had good top-down support. Get everyone involved. Get your line guys involved, everyone. Listen to your customers, develop your plan, implement it, measure your success, continually improve, and don't forget to celebrate, because that's very, very important. And with that, just wanted to say thank you. That's what I had to tell you today, and at this point in time, I'll turn it back over to Rod.
All right, thanks, Dave. That was great. So attendees, now is the point where we'll start into questions and answers. As I mentioned at the start of this webinar, please type your questions into that panel in the lower right corner, and I will ask them of Dave. I'll also remind you that this session is being recorded today, so you can hear it again later on, or you can go back to our website and check on all of our webinar series over the past 12, 14 months. So actually, Dave, so we have some questions. Some of them came in early. I do want to ask you personally, though, Dave, but my own question is about 10 slides ago, you had an inverse relationship of your call volumes to your customers. I had a nice glide path of less calls, except for there was a spike in 2009. What caused that?
Yeah, that was really, we went through when our smart meter implementation was put in place, not the TOU specifically, but the end days of getting our meters put in place. We found out that, people were calling us a little bit. We had a lot of communication on that, in terms of we're going to be in your backyard and we're going to be, turning off your power for a minute as we replace this thing. So we found people were calling in to what is all this disruption about. So that was basically what that spike was. Okay, perfect. So Dave, going backwards at about 1:30, and you were in the middle of your discussion, most of your discussion there, you were in the killer bees, and you were talking about MyHydroLink, and a person asked, are customer online services managed by a third party? Thank you for the question. And basically, we have outsourced the development of those services to a third party. It's an organization in Ontario called Whitecap. They built this solution to our specifications. However, we host it and we look after answering questions and whatnot. So basically developed by an outside organization, and we run it on our technology, or actually we run it on technology that through a service organization, but we manage it.
Okay, perfect. At about 45 minutes after the hour, a person asks, interesting question. Question goes, do you have a quality assurance program in place for the field and call center employees? If so, how do you measure quality?
Yeah, thank you for the question as well. I think I don't know if I mentioned, maybe on one of the earlier slides, our call center is actually an outsourced call center. Back in 2004, we had our labor disruption, and we took that opportunity to change gears and do a bit of an efficiency thing. We currently use IBM as our outsourced call center, and we work very closely with them from a quality assurance point of view. We have a quality scorecard that is requested, and I'm going by memory here, but I think it's every agent has to go through 10 quality assessments every month. There's an assessment made on that. We also listen in on calls. We have a scoring mechanism that every agent is scored on. That's what we use for our call center agents.
Real good. Actually, we've got a related question that came in at 49 minutes after. Actually, I know this gal she's from Ohio, but her question is related, and it goes, how do you handle an escalated call? Do you use team leads or supervisors?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, in terms of organizational structure, all of our first-line calls go into our outsourced call center. So think of it, they're handling all of the high-volume, low-complexity calls. If an item becomes of higher complexity or it becomes an escalated situation, then we have that call routed back to our head office people, where we've got a small team of experts who manage our escalations/complaints desk. It's at that particular point in time that we get things registered and actioned accordingly.
Okay, great, Dave. Next question at 51 minutes after. These are all working together well. How did you decide to outsource part of your operation to a third party?
Specifically on the call center, it was a combination of cost reduction opportunity. At the same it was because we were going through a labor disruption, at the same time an opportunity to look at what the cost reductions could be at that particular time. And you recall what I showed back in 2005, our call volumes were some of the highest that we had at that time. That was as a result of our house wasn't in order. And so we were getting repeat calls and whatnot, so the call volumes were still fairly high, but even there we were able to see that it would probably be a lower cost. And what we've done since is worked on the processes and technologies and all that sort of thing that have driven our call volumes down further, and that's been able to allow the cost envelope that we have set aside for call handling to also be minimized in a sloped pattern, which has been very beneficial.
Great. So Dave, we have another question that came in just a minute or two ago. And this person asks, what AMI vendor and system did Hydro Ottawa implement? And then there's a follow-on set that says, what do you have for MDMS and CIS? Right.
So we're an Elster shop, pretty much through and through. So we use we have Elster meters. We've put in place, and we use the Elster mass system to collect our data, and we also have in the province of Ontario the architecture that was determined, because the decision to implement smart meters was a top-down government-driven initiative. Basically, they declared this province will become a smart meter province. And as a result, the meter data management repository is centralized, and all of the distributors within Ontario are to collect their data through whatever vendors they're using. I said we're an Ulster shop, and that information is provided up to the provincial meter data management system, and that's where the bucketization, if you like, of the data occurs for the time of use rating, and then that information is provided back to us for billing purposes.
Perfect.
Oh, pardon me, Rod, as well. Sorry, the CIS.
Yes.
We currently have back in 2004. Prior to that, we had an advanced system. It was called Advanced. In 2004, we switched over to PeopleSoft CIS, and we are just in the process. Next year, we'll be flipping over to Oracle CC&B, basically staying within the Oracle family. So right now, PeopleSoft CIS, moving to Oracle CC&B.
Okay, great. So Dave, we had a lot of questions around your call volumes and so on. You described how they went down. But regarding your success with MyHydroLink, can you describe how you've had that success, and are the customers coming back to that on a regular basis?
Yeah, that's a good question. We were interested. Is this just a flash in the pan? Are they just signing up and then, that's interesting, but I'm not going back anywhere near there? But what we're finding, our analytics are showing that about a third of the customers who have signed on go back in on a monthly basis. So, and they're not necessarily the same customers. It's the, right now we're closing in on about 90,000 customers, and about 30,000 customers go in on a monthly basis. So that's kind of we're still monitoring this and seeing how it's evolving, but we're pleased with the quote-unquote stickiness of the application. Customers are very interested in viewing and monitoring this information. Good.
Attendees, we're going to wrap up right away, so if you have another question, put it into that little Q&A box. One thing, Dave, is that you mentioned having a complete company-wide embracing of your plan and so on, but regarding the field, did you get any pushback on getting accurate ETRs, estimates of time of restoration?
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people say that in many organizations, the flow when there's an outage, the flow is make safe, restore, communicate. Make safe, restore, communicate. We said no. We believe it should be make safe, communicate, restore. So flip the last two around. That took a little bit of a culture shift or a head thing to get shifted around. But part of our very strong view there is, again, top-down. Our top engineering fellow, our top fellow that does our operations group, very customer-oriented. The people that we have that are managing dispatch in our network operations center, very customer-focused. It didn't happen overnight, but it has happened, and we are very pleased that the reporting is coming in. People are recognizing they're not going to be whipped and hung if they don't get it right. We're just asking for their best estimate, and we're getting some success there.
Perfect. Well, folks, it's just about the top of the hour. So first of all, Dave, thanks a bunch for bringing to all of us today this great presentation. Congratulations on all those awards that you had there in that deck and how much you've improved the operation since 2006. Attendees, we would like to thank you for participating today, and we'd like to wish all of you a Merry Christmas. Dave, any final comments from you?
No, I'd just like to, Rod, thank you, and thank CS Week for this tremendous opportunity. For those of you who have not been to a CS Week event, I would strongly encourage you to go. I've had the opportunity to go to a few of them. I learned so much. I say I go to them for three reasons. Number one, I get to meet people like you on the line. Number two, I get to validate where we are in comparison to our peers in terms of what we offer. And number three, it's a great spot to idea spark. And Rod, I'm going to tell you, some of the ideas that you saw through this presentation, we got from the great work that CS Week does, and we're learning from our peer group. It's a real pleasure to work with CS Week. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the comment. So we're adjourned today. Dave, if you want to stay on for a minute.
Thank you.